So today we're going to actually talk about seasonal reads. I've never done something like this before. I've never done like a seasonal TBR or anything. So I'm just going to show you the books that I'm excited to get to and excited to read. This does not include my pile of shame. It may include a few off my September TBR because I am excited to read those books. But these are just ones that I'm excited to read in the fall season. I usually read more in the fall season because we're inside more. Actually, I read more in the fall season because I'm outside more. I don't do the heat at all, but I love a cold, crisp winter morning, autumn morning, sitting out in the sun, reading until I have to go to work. Favorite thing ever. So, without further ado, let's get into some of the books I want to read this autumn. First one is going to be Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I would like to read this whole series. I have Throne of Glass here, but I also own Assassin's Blade. I'm not sure which one I should start with, so I'm hoping to read this entire series. I've heard they're so good. I've read Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorn and Roses and loved it. I have no clue what this is about. I started Throne of Glass, and I know it has to do with somebody who was in prison, and she's taken up to be like the king's warrior or whatever, or compete for it, I think. But that's all I really know, and so I would like to read this series this fall or this autumn. Next, I would like to read. Oh, come on out. Okay. Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Mascalo. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Please don't kill me. I'm awful at pronouncing names. I'm awful at reading aloud. It's probably my dyslexia. Something to deal with. This is about. Oh, why can't I remember her name now? Come on, I know. It's not Thomas. Why can't I remember her first name? Oh, it's killing me. I can't remember. Okay, I honestly can't remember this character's first name, but she wants to be. I'm so sorry if you can hear that. If you hear tinkling, my cat's got harnesses, both of them. It has helped with their anxiety a lot. So if you have an anxious cat or an anxious dog, very highly suggest getting a harness. But if you hear any clinking, that clinking there, or somebody running into something, it's my cats. It's the middle of the afternoon here, so it's getting about dark, and you can see all the dust particles flying in the air, and they love chasing them. It's the weirdest thing ever, but that's what they do. I digress. This is about our main character, who I can't remember the name of her name for the life of me right now, wants to be a mortician. That might not be the right term, but she wants to be a mortician, and her uncle is a mortician. It all starts when Jack the Ripper is taking place, and the tagline on that book was, "I'm the girl who loved the Ripper." Anything Jack the Ripper related, I'll read, pretty much. I love it, and I fell in love with her. I fell in love with Thomas, which is the other main character in here, and their hunt for Jack the Ripper. And so when I finished that, I automatically knew I needed to have the second one, so I want to read this autumn. Plus, it has to do with Prince Dracula, so vampires are always an autumn read for me. Next thing I want to read this autumn is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. It's a mystery that has to do with a demon. Am I correct? Is he a demon or a fallen angel? An archangel and Bryce. And they're trying to figure out who murdered her friend, I believe. No. Bryce herself is accused of murder and starts an investigation to figure out who really did it because she didn't do it. That's another one I want to read this autumn. I would like to get to The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hawkwich. This is all about stories in hell. So what happens in this universe, an unfinished story, the characters end up in hell, in a special neutral place in hell, and they have a watcher who keeps them from getting out. This story takes place when a character gets out and sets out to murder their author, basically. It sounds good. It sounds creepy. I'm super excited to get into it. The other thing I would like to read this autumn would be Generation Dead by Daniel Waters. this has to do with zombies. Have you ever seen a Disney movie? It's something in zombies. I have an 8-year-old sister. We watch a lot of like new Disney movies, and they have a Disney movie that's basically this concept where kids are turning into zombies. They're not sure why, and they still have to go to high school. They still have to do the things they're supposed to do, but they're zombies, and so they're kind of outcasted from society. It reminds me a lot of like integration, back when, people of color first started going to all white schools. That's what this reminds me of, and I'm super excited to see what I think of this series. I will say, in that Disney movie, it's different. The kids are born zombies. I'm not sure how the parents end up zombies. They don't really go into that. It's just kind of like they're another race, and they marry, have children, fall in love, and stuff like that. So that's a super interesting thing if you're into zombie movies. The next thing I would like to read, they're all around me. Give me just a second. Okay, back to what I was saying. I honestly don't remember because a lot's happened since I started this video. So I went to my mom's and ate dinner. I lost storage on my phone, so I had to delete a whole bunch. It's been, I do remember what I was filming though. So here's the good thing. I do remember what books I want to talk about. So what else I want to read this autumn, and some of these are, one of these is to finish. I would like to finish the European Trial for the Monstrous Gentlewoman by Theodora Argos. This is all about Mary Jekyll, whose mother dies in the very first book, which honestly the first book's like half this size. And when her mother dies, I'm sorry if you're talking in the background. My sister and my wife are here hanging out. She takes over her mother's estate, and comes to find out that her mother had a living inheritance. That because she was a woman, she didn't get a full inheritance, so it was only for her living time, meaning the money that she was supposed to be getting is now gone. And that her mother's been taking care of a Hyde in this home, and she doesn't know. She thinks it's Mr. Hyde, who is wanted for murder and has a bounty on his head. So anybody who turns over Mr. Hyde gets the money. So of course Mary goes, that could fix my problems. If I could turn Hyde in, it could fix all of my problems. Let me go do that. And she ends up finding her sister. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to say more than that. There are a bunch of literary scientists in here, famous ones. Frankenstein makes a appearance. Moreau, Rappaccini, Jekyll and Hyde. And so it's all about their story and how they come to be where they are. In this book, what's so interesting about this book and what's amazing about it is the girls, I can show you a snippet, the girls butt it at certain points. And so you get to a point where you're reading and all of a sudden you're sucked out of the story because they're complaining and bickering with one another, basically. I'm 394 pages through this book, and there are 700 pages, I think. there it is, 708 pages. So I'm about halfway through, more than halfway through, and so I really would like to finish this autumn, and possibly even get the third one in my hands and read it as well. Next, I would like to read The Beautiful by Renee Audier. This is a New Orleans vampire story. Again, when it comes to autumn reads, vampires, paranormal, anything that encompasses that is what I want to read. So I definitely want to get to that this autumn. Just gonna stack you where you go. Next, I would like to read The Diviners by Libba Bray. This is a reread for me. I've only read this one. I don't remember enough to... Excuse me? So, I've read this, but it's going to be a reread. This is all about Evie, and Evie comes to find out that she has powers, and it kind of takes off from there. She gets into some trouble at home and has to go live with her uncle. I think in New York, yes, in New York City. And she meets other kids kind of like her and takes off from there. There is a murder mystery in here, and I remember I wasn't too enthralled by the mystery, but I'm planning on listening this to on audio because I think my library just released it to me, honestly. So I'm planning on reading this on audio this autumn. And then lastly, the last thing I would like to get to and hopefully read is Queen of the Conquered by Karen or Payson Colley. Ooh, I'm not even gonna try. Guys, I'm awful with names. I do apologize. This is I think I know it's an Own Voices, but I can't remember where this is set. I know that her whole family gets murdered, and she's out for revenge. It kind of takes from there. I am so excited about reading this. Again, I'm down for any Own Voices person of color book, especially being a woman of color myself. I love seeing that representation. It makes me want to read that book more because I see myself in it. So this is another one I would like to read this autumn. But those are all the books I would like to read this autumn. There's a few interruptions. I'm probably gonna leave them in because I think it's awesome. But yeah, so that's gonna be that, and I hope I see y'all in my